2008, and a woman on the door was crying because her husband had passed away. She lost her health insurance. She was living in fear that her breast cancer would return and she wouldn't be able to resume treatment. And she was crying, I cried, we cried together, and I promised that as a healthy person, I would do whatever I could to make sure that affordable care, some type of affordable quality care would be extended to her if she could need it. People were forced to maybe stay in jobs they didn't like to keep health care because they had pre-existing conditions or their children did, and they couldn't carry on. There's a story, these aren't specific people, it's more of a composite. I have to maintain privacy. If you can imagine driving to the emergency room and sitting outside with chest pain because you're afraid it's a heart attack, but you don't want to go in and incur, the $20,000, $30,000 bill. Thank goodness that man's life made him go in. It was a heart attack, and he was treated, but again, this is before the Affordable Care Act. I don't know what happened after that. We used to search for some kind of payer source for patients, interview them. I would help them fill out the forms when they arrived at the hospital needing health care. It usually was like a month-to-month system that nobody could manage. Who can manage going in and filling out the paperwork every month? Right after the Affordable Care Act was signed, the first thing that happened right away. Children with pre-existing conditions could no longer be denied or dropped. That happened immediately. The donut hole, where seniors fall into a gap in coverage and would be out of pocket for maybe $5,000, which would encourage them not to purchase drugs if they needed. That's closing, and I believe it will be a thing of the past very soon. Women were charged more than men. That's over. That's over. We're just like, woman is a pre-existing condition. Oral contraception is now covered, all contraception and all aspects of women's health are covered in every Affordable Care Act compliant policy. So you're no longer treated like a special person that should pay extra for care that you need to be healthy and conduct your life in dignity. My special interests are diabetes and hypertension, those really common treatable conditions. And typically, you'd have people in their 40s, 50s, early 60s, too young for Medicare, maybe making too much money to be on Medicaid, and not able to get consistent care, and those conditions just turn into catastrophes over and over again. And frankly, my point of view is dignity and comfort for my patients, but it's also expensive. It's an expensive way to deliver care in the emergency room or waiting until they come to the emergency room in very, very dire straits. Campaigning in 2010, I had people at the doorstep tell me they're so glad to know that their children could stay on their health care plans until they were 26. That's a problem. You send them to college. And if you have a child who has diabetes, juvenile arthritis, anything like that, the college health care plans aren't so good. You can't go out and buy them a private policy, but if you can keep them on your policy, that's incredible peace of mind. And I could go on. What the Affordable Care Act, I think, has brought to Nevada, the uninsured rate has dropped from 20% to 15.3%, 5% drop in less than 2 years, and we aren't done yet. We're still reaching out. The next open enrollment period starts soon, and we're actually hoping to volunteer, go out and help people get enrolled. It's possible to do that. I think at the end of the day, what we were seeing for my patients and the ones in the past, I'm sorry that they were sick before the Affordable Care Act. It's a matter of dignity and a basic security that I believe should be a human right. And that's what we've brought, that's what we're working for. I'm going to fight as long as I'm able to make sure that we don't go backwards, that we keep moving forward and protect the Affordable Care Act. We don't need to repeal it, as the Republicans want to do. Our candidates all are on the same page. We're going to go forward. We're going to maintain good health care for all of our citizens.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Now, I'd like to introduce our final speaker, Dulce Valencia, who is a dreamer and who actually would like to share her story because of some of the things that she's not able to take advantage of because because the Republicans have done all they can to block more progress on making sure that immigrants to this country who simply came to make a better way of life for themselves and their families can do just that. That's another major contrast between all of our Democratic candidates who believe in comprehensive immigration reform, who believe there should be a pathway to citizenship, legal status, and make sure that we have an acknowledgement that people who are here in this country to make sure that they can unite their families, keep them together, and just do good, hard work to be able to reach the middle class that should be able to stay. And Republicans who spent their first two debates arguing over not only that we should build a wall with Mexico, but maybe we should consider building one with Canada too, and how quickly we can basically kick people out of this country. That's not going to go over very well with Nevada voters, I don't think, from my experience. Dulce?
Thank you so much. My name is Dulce Valencia, and I'm a 19-year-old dreamer. I arrived to the state of Nevada in the day after Christmas, December 26th of 2007. And because of that, I didn't qualify for DACA the first time President Obama announced Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. But I used that to fuel my activism and fuel what I do now, which is fight for immigration reform. I've gone to events that Congresswoman Dina Titus has hosted, where people can receive information about not only DACA, but how to apply to become citizens. So I've seen the great work she has done, and also Senator Harry Reid fighting for immigration reform. The summer of 2013, when SB 744, a bipartisan comprehensive immigration reform bill, was passed, that was a great day because we thought we would be close and by now we would have immigration reform. That didn't happen because the House of Representatives, led by Speaker of the House John Boehner, refused to bring it up to a vote, even though the votes were there. And nothing is more frustrating than to see us come so close to not be able to achieve this. So I continue to fight because I want nothing more than to be able to stay in this country and to not fear being separated from my mom. I have a brother and sister who are both United States citizens. So we're a mixed status family. So the fear is very real, and we fear not being together. And there's nothing more that I want than for my family to stay together. And I thought we would be able to when just less than a year ago, President Obama announced the extension of DACA and the creation of DAPA. Under those both executive actions, both myself and my mom would qualify for deportation protection. And I was so happy because I thought I can stay, I can continue to advocate and have no fear. And I got all my papers ready, and the day before the application was supposed to drop, a Republican-led lawsuit stopped me from being able to apply. And I've stayed ever since in a state of limbo, constantly fighting for immigration reform. That Senator Harry Reid, President Barack Obama, and Congresswoman Dina Titus have all fought for. And this is my family. We love the state of Nevada. I've considered this state home for almost 8 years, and again, there's nothing I want more than to be able to stay here and to keep my family together. And that's what immigration reform is about keeping our families together. And I can't wait for the day when I can go home and tell my mom we can stay and we don't have to fear.